Good morning. Welcome to Sierra Center for Spiritual Living. Wherever you are, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are going to get started with our first two community songs. Lift your voice, let your joy sing out. Here we go.
1, 2, 3, 4. I'm so glad somehow I got salvation now. Keeps spirit moving in my soul. Every day I find peace and joy in mind. It keeps me singing, singing in my soul. Yes, I'm singing, oh, singing in my soul. When the troubles roll, I sing from morning to night. It makes my blood lighter. Yes, I'm singing in my soul. Yeah. Now and then something comes sneaking in, then I steal away and I pray. Yes, sometimes through the night comes music of delight, keeps me singing, singing in my soul. Yes, I'm singing in my soul. When troubles roll, when I sing from morning to night, it makes my burdens light. Yes, I'm singing in my soul. Yes, again I'm singing in my soul. When the troubles roll. Above my head, I can music in the air. Above my head, I can music in the air. Above my head, I can music in the air. I really do believe there's a heaven somewhere. Up above my head, I can music in the air. Up above my head, I can music in the air. But my head, I need to get here. I really do believe there's joy to share. All around this room, there's music we can share. All around this room, there's music we can share. All around this room, there's music we can share. I really do believe there's heaven right here. All around my heart, there's music playing there. All around my heart, there's music playing there. All around my heart, there's music playing there. I really do believe there's music everywhere. Yeah! Yes, I really do believe
Welcome back. Welcome back. So my name is Reverend Rafe Ellis, and I am so privileged and honored to be the senior minister here at Sierra Center for Spiritual Living. So I want to take a moment to welcome everyone joining us virtually from wherever you are, on whatever platform you're using. Welcome. I want to particularly welcome anyone who's joining us for the first time. Whether you're here in the building or whether you're right where you are our guest this morning. And we are so honored that out of all the choices you could make, you chose to spend your morning with us. I want to also take a moment to welcome anyone who is watching the recording after the live stream, because it is available on YouTube, and know that you are welcome equally. So let me remind us of who we are and share with our guests who we are. We are a radically inclusive, spiritually progressive, supportive community that celebrates the very diversity of creation. We strive to live authentic spiritual lives through a practical application of the teachings of science of mind. We engage in sacred practices that uplift our spirit, deepen our awareness, and ignite our soul's self-expression. We demonstrate active compassion to ourselves, to one another, and the world. We experience meaningful contribution through giving generously of our time, talents, and treasures. And we intentionally, on purpose, promote our community and these teachings. And our community has broadened. That's one of the gifts of what has happened over the last almost year, is that it really has opened us up to a community beyond the brick and mortar boundaries. And so one of the ways that you can assist us in expanding our community even further is by sharing this live stream right now on whatever social media platform that you use. You can also grab the YouTube link and share that through email to anyone you think might enjoy these teachings. And so one of the things that we do every Sunday morning to demonstrate, to actually put into practice our inclusion commitment, is our inclusion candle lighting ritual. And we light these candles to celebrate the unity of all peoples, all faiths, all beings, all life. We light the first candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the ways of primal spirituality. We light the second candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the third candle for Taoism, honoring the path of ultimate reality, the natural way. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the middle way and path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the teachings of Jesus as the path of love, forgiveness, and healing by the presence within. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the ninth candle for all forms of New Thought teachings, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles of love and law. We light the 10th candle for absolute inclusivity, affirming that all are welcome and celebrated here. And we light this final candle, honoring the infinity of oneness as all creation, seen and unseen. And so I invite you again, right where you are, to lift your voice. Let your neighbors hear your joy as we join in our next community song. Here we go.
The breath of God is breathing me and resting in the breath of God. I know that all is well. The breath of God is breathing me and resting in the breath of God. I know that all is well. The grace of God is gracing me and resting in the grace of God. I know that all is well. The joy of God is joy in me and resting in the joy of God. I know that all is well. The love of God is loving me and resting in the love of God. I know that all is well. The breath of God is breathing me and resting in the breath of God. I know that all is well. That all is well. I know that all is well.
So this is our time of announcements, and you will see the slides on the screen with the announcement information so that you can take down whatever notes are effective for you to have. Take a screenshot of it, whatever works for you. So here we go. Got a class coming up, Spiritual Economics, and that was at the request of folks because we are living in times that are changing the economy. And so this is an opportunity to really get deeply educated and learn how to embody the abundance of our spiritual nature and translate that in practical terms to the economics of this world. That is starting on February 4th. There's 2 sessions of it. You'll see there on the screen. It's on Thursday. Both sessions are on Thursday. It is being offered online only, so wherever you are, you can join in to this class. On Thursday morning, it's offered from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific time. And on Thursday evening, it's offered from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Pacific time. Between January and 28th and February 4th, you can pay the full price at $245. And if you need to make installments, we have a plan for that as well. You can pay $70, which is the registration fee, including the first class, and then you can pay $30 per class each week prior to the beginning of the class to make the installment payments. The links are available for direct paying online for that in the newsletter. So I encourage you to take a look at that and join us. We have a good time. Also want to remind folks that we have a daily morning meditation practice that you can join Monday through Saturday. On Monday morning, Reverend Sarah Nichols does the practice through the Zoom platform, and the link is right there on the notice. And then Tuesday through Saturday, I do them, and they are live streamed from Zoom, Facebook, and YouTube. So there's several places. There's also a bank of meditations and prayer because this has been happening since we closed our doors for the pandemic in March. And so there is a ton of morning meditation and prayer offerings there that you can avail yourself of at any time. Also want to remind folks of our dynamic and amazing Tuesday night offering, Actualizing Wholeness Discussion Group. It is a fun, deep dive into the mystery. We use the David Bohm dialogue, which essentially is just allowing ourselves to hear the divine nudges and dive into those without any particular agenda on where we're going. It's just literally the practice of conversation and exploration, and it is just a fabulous time. We also have the Wednesday night offering, the 52 weeks practice of spiritual activism for 2021. We're using the material from AGNT, which is the Association of Global New Thought, and it really is a time of exploring practical spiritual ways we can be in the world. It has nothing to do with politics. It has nothing to do with activism as you might think about it. It's about activating our spirit. It's about living from our heart. It's about making conscious choices from that place of oneness within. And so that is on Wednesday evenings from 6 to 7. That is available on Zoom, and I encourage you to check it out. Would love to just spend time with you exploring. And now we have an announcement from the creativity of one of our board members.
Hey everyone, I'm still Steven, and I'm still one of your trustees, and that is a blue diamond. Personally, I've had a very unique experience on the Board of Trustees since I came on right at the beginning of 2020, which, as we all know, was right at the beginning of 2020. So all the meetings that I've attended have been electronically. However, I've still had this remarkable sense of connection and of service. Some words that describe how it feels to serve on the Sierra Center Board of Trustees. Rewarding. Fulfilling. Creative. Delicious. Our coming annual member meeting on January 31st, 2021. It'll be right after Sunday service. It's important that you come join us for an update on how the center has been doing, where we're going, and an opportunity to share your own voice. Be there or be. Thank you so much, everyone.
So this is our time of inward shift. And so I invite you to minimize the distractions in your immediate area. If you feel comfortable, allow your eyes to close, or at least a soft gaze. If you are driving while you're listening to this service, please do keep your attention on your driving. There will be a brief meditation, a contemplative meditation, and our practitioner this morning, Deborah Ellis, will bring us out of the meditation with our opening affirmative prayer, also known as a spiritual mind treatment, and then she will lead us in reading our weekly affirmation. Enjoy. Observe what is going on in your life and know that you are not your experiences. I notice what is going on inside of me. What do I need to do to get to that space where I could be the happiest and the most powerful person in my world? If I have done a lot of work on myself and I understand the principles
that what I think and say goes out from me, and the universe responds and it comes back, then I observe myself. I watch myself without judgment and without criticism. This seems to be one of the biggest hurdles I have to make. Just look at myself objectively, all the things about me. Just note what they are without making comments. Just observe. As I allow myself the space to go inside and begin to notice what is going on, how I feel, how I react, what I believe, I come from a space where I am much more open. Today, I notice what is going on inside of me.
And anchoring a little deeper into your breath, into that sacred and holy breath of life. That breath that is shared in and through and as all of creation. It is that spot of interconnectedness. It is that light. It is that place where love, deep and abiding peace, joy, join. It is that place of the universal intelligence that I call God in this moment, that is knowing itself as all of life. It is in me now. It is my life. I joyfully speak a word of blessing for this time together in spiritual community, anchoring this truth that there is only one, that there is one life that we share together, that it is filled to overflowing with love. It is that deep well, that source that is life-giving and sustaining. It is sustaining this place we call Sierra Center for Spiritual Living. It is sustaining everyone within the sound of my voice and beyond. So blessed, so grateful to be here in this place, to serve, to be woke, to be that place where love can know itself. And so I revel in that, and I take responsibility for the seeds that I plant in the creative process through my thoughts, recognizing that I'm a part of this great and grand expression, as are each one present here today. So I just feel the gratitude of that and allow myself to anchor into that more deeply. And I accept that for all of life. And so I release into that alchemy of love and law that makes it so. And I simply just allow it to be so. And so it is. And so I am going to lead us through our affirmation for today. And I'll read it through first, and then we'll read it together. I allow the divine to unfold through me. Here we go. I allow the divine to unfold through me. And so it is. Welcome, welcome.
Let me give and never see. One more time. If love is why I'm here, let me be an open channel. If love is why I'm here, let me give and never see. Let me give and never see. 'Cause love is why I'm here.
Let's take a breath together. So this morning, we're finishing up the month. And this month, we've been looking at our annual theme, Timeless Wisdom, Evolutionary Vision. And we looked at week 1, we focused on our understanding that the physical realm evolves and that the spiritual realm is changeless. We focused in week 2 on the unity of all life, that we are all grounded in the invisible, made from the substance of the invisible, if you will. In week 3, we focused on being aware of where we place our attention and our intention, remembering that beautiful phrase, if you will, that principle is never bound by precedent. It's actually a truth that principle is never bound by precedent. And so whatever has gone before does not limit now. And so last week we focused on the need to let go of our past ideas to make room for new ideas. And so this morning our talk title is Looking Above. And that's a bit of a misnomer, but it's kind of how language happens. And we're in a culture where there's this thing called Christian hegemony, which is really just an intellectual phrase that talks about the pervasiveness of the idea and the theology of Christianity that typically puts God outside of us, that puts it up. And so what we're really talking about when we say looking above is we're talking about looking within. We teach that God is all there is, that it's here, it's right where you are, it's the camera that is filming me and making this live stream happen through this thing called the internet. All God. All God. And we teach that heaven is a state of mind, that heaven is everywhere present, just like God, because heaven is literally that experience, if you will, that state of being, that state of embodiment where we are living from our Christ consciousness, our God consciousness. Manifestation is the activity of Creator, of God. Creation has it just has one thing that it does, and that's create. That's to express. And it does that through this thing that we understand as mind, as thought, as ideas, as I wonder what would happen if. I wonder what I would experience as. ideas in the mind of the infinite manifesting in form. And we fit into that process because we are each a center of divine mind. We are each a place where that desire to express is beautifully, marvelously, amazingly individualized, yet never separate. Never separate. And why is it that we have complete free will? Well, because if we didn't, the only thing creation could do would be replicate. And so we're necessary. We have an important place in the unfolding of life, and that place is to align our human thought with that indwelling mind of the infinite and tap into those ideas that are uniquely, specifically alive in each of us. And the trick is learning this. Centers for Spiritual Living set a huge vision in motion when it set that vision of a world that works for all. The trick is understanding the harmonious operation of one. And so a world that works for all, I believe, means that we recognize that each of us is an individualized center of divine mind, fully connected, fully unified with every other individualized expression of divine mind. And so when we go to that inner place, when we go to that inner mind, we can be a part of unfolding of life with the confidence that those divine nudges are always in alignment with the whole. It's when we are operating in separation that we get in trouble. It's when I am allowing my egoic mind, my reptilian brain, that is designed to mitigate fear or the perception of fear most of the time in this physical realm. It is divine. It is designed for a me perspective from the place of separation. Now, it doesn't make it bad or wrong. That's exactly how it was designed. And, historically, in the course of evolution, the physical realm of evolution, that part of us has been magnificently designed to save us from physical extinction. Because if we look at the world in the physical realm, it really doesn't make sense that humanity has survived the elements, that we have survived encounter with the animal world, who quite easily could take any of us off the planet. And yet, as a species, we continue to survive and even thrive. And I submit to you that that is because within us is that divine mind that is constantly expressing itself with new ideas that show up as technology, ideas that show up as homes that protect us from the weather elements, as heating systems that keep us warm in the wintertime, as cooling systems that keep us cool in the summertime, as skills for how to live with nature. And again, when we're living from that egoic mind, we tend to live in competition and conflict because we forget that we are intricately, inseparably connected to the whole. And that means to one another. And so, how do we navigate this journey from our human perspectives, our human preferences, our human fears, to that inward place, to that state of consciousness that is in alignment with divine mind? Well, we have to be about the business of removing everything that's in the way. And there's some questions that we can ask. And I'm going to go through a series of these, and I will post these questions. I'll put them in the newsletter later today for next week, in the beginning of that, so that you have them to kind of consider and play with as you move through the week. So the first one is, what's this that I'm stuck on? What's the this that I'm stuck on? Oftentimes we're holding ourselves back because we've anchored ourselves in a this. Whether it's this is how it's always been, this is how it should be, this will make everything better. What is the this that we're stuck in? Another question we can ask is, when we encounter really huge things, do we see God in them? Or do we see the absence of God? And so the question is, where do I see God in this moment, in this situation, in this incident? Where is God present right here, right now? That's particularly challenging for us, seems to be anyway. I won't state that as a unilateral, universal fact, but there's some evidence that points to we are really challenged with finding God in those interactions that we deeply, fundamentally disagree with. And that might take us back to that first question, what this am I stuck in? Another question is, what would it take? What would it take for you to sink into a unity with all life every day? What would it take? And for some of us, we look for guarantees. And some of us, we look to, well, I would do it if I know this is going to happen, or if that's going to happen. And so what the question is really asking is, what will it take for you to surrender into the mystery? To surrender, just to let go of the outcome, if you will. What will it take? Another question is, how might my life be different if I let go? What would change? And that can lead into questions of, am I really willing to let go of control? Am I really willing? Because what we're really talking about when we talk about going within is faith. That belief in things not seen. Because Spirit, God, whatever we call it, Creator, is the invisible unfolding itself into visibility. And that place of heaven, that divine mind, that surrendering into the mystery, is literally doing a mental, emotional, and even physical free fall into the invisible, into the unknown, into that place where we are so in tune with divine mind that we are aware of those divine desires to express and to have the faith to simply be aware of that and without hesitation to say yes. And then follow those divine nudges and watch it magnificently unfold. One of the things that we say as our vision here at Sierra Center for Spiritual Living is that we are about humanity awakening to its magnificence. Are we willing and ready to lead by example? Are we individually willing to relax into that free fall? I want to share a story that I think really kind of anchors this and brings it home. A young woman spent the summers working in Yellowstone National Park. And because I have no idea who is viewing this live stream, there may be some folks that are international. So if you're not aware of what Yellowstone is, it is an extremely large landmass here in northwest United States. It is 6 million acres. It has 5 distinct ecosystems, and it was our nation's and the world's first national park. And there's a lot of hiking opportunity in Yellowstone. It's a lot of mountains, but there's also a lot of rolling hills. And one of those areas of the rolling hills is called the Lamar Valley. And so this woman's father came to visit her. And they were driving around Yellowstone and came to one of those vistas and stopped to take in the scenery, to stretch their legs. And being adventurous, both of them, they decided to take off on a hike. And so there was one of those rolling hills, and with all kinds of excitement, they took off and hiked to the top of that hill. And as soon as they got there, her father was like, "It's just on the other side of the next one," and took off without her. So she, hustles up and gets in there with him, and they hike up to the next one. And as soon as he gets to the top, he turns and he looks at her and he says, "It's just over the next one," and takes off again. She catches up to him, and lo and behold, he gets to the top of the next one, and without even looking back at her, it's just over the next one with even more excitement, and takes off. And she catches up with him, and she's like, "Dad, what you keep saying, it's just over the next one," and taking off. What is it you're looking for? And he laughed. He said, "I don't know. I have no idea what I'm gonna find. Maybe a moose. Maybe a wolf. Maybe a flower. But what I know is that whatever it is, it's just on the other side of the next one." And what would it be like if we anchored ourselves in this beautiful unfolding mystery with that same adventurous spirit, That same certainty that I don't know what I'm going to find, but what I know is that it's just on the other side. And perhaps those rolling hills of our consciousness are those places, those thises, where we argue for our limitation. And I invite you to consider this week that everything that you desire in your life is just on the other side of every limitation we hold, every this should that we hold. Let's take this into prayer. And so knowing that this one is everywhere present, it is here in this beautiful center, in this technology. It is right where each listener is. It is, in fact, each listener in form. It is this technology in form. God everywhere present, knowing itself, being itself, expressing itself exquisitely in form. So I speak my word this morning, claiming, affirming, accepting it's true that life is unfolding perfectly, magnificently, beautifully within the awareness, within the conscious, intentional awareness of every manifest form of its creation. That anything unlike that is moved effortlessly, with ease and grace out of the way, revealing a new desire in the mind of the infinite to express. That humanity is truly awakening to its magnificence as the mind of God in form. Awakening to the truth and the reality that as we enter the kingdom of heaven, as we enter into that place within, that infinite mystery, and listen for those divine nudges that come as feelings, as ideas, as notions, as nudges, that we say yes. That we say yes to being more than our human mind can imagine we can be. We say yes to embodying and embracing a joy that is inexplicable and unexplainable, other than that alignment with truth. It just is giddy joyful. So I sense that joy. I sense that gratitude as I claim a realization, a making real of the mind of the infinite in the awareness of each and every one of us. And so from this place of gratitude, knowing that the word spoken is the word fulfilled, without any need to know how or when, I let go. I let it be. And I invite you to make these words your own as we say together. Amen. Amen. Shalom. Aho. Ashe. And so it is. Let's take another breath together as we shift. So this is our time of intentional giving. And I encourage you to participate in the spiritual practice of circulation through giving. If this has been meaningful to you, then I encourage you to give whatever you can give. Every amount is valued equally here at Sierra Center. And so I want to remind us all that we are wholly 100% sustained by your giving. That's how we keep the lights on, we keep the cameras going, we keep the doors on the building, and someday we're going to open them again, I promise. I just don't know when that's going to be. So let's say our giving affirmation together. I give this gift with love and joy from a consciousness of abundance. Divine love blesses and prospers all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so you'll see there on the bottom of the screen the different ways that you can give. Auto tithing is a wonderful way to do that. Auto giving. If the word tithing is challenging for you, call it intentional giving. Call it offering. Call it whatever works for you. Just do it. Because when we operate in the flow, then we're part of the flow. And the flow opens up in our own individual lives as well. So, a couple of reminders. Check out the newsletter for all that's happening. If you're not currently getting the newsletter and would like to, send me your email with a simple statement that says, please send me the newsletter. You can email me at revrafe@sierracenter.org, and I will get you on our mailing list. Immediately after this service, we will gather on Zoom. We'll have a little bit of time of socialization just to connect with one another, and then we'll pretty quickly move into our annual business meeting, our annual membership meeting. And so really encourage everyone to be there. We'll do a recap of the year. We'll take a look at where the heck are we going from here. I look forward to spending time with each of you. I know our board has been working hard on preparing our first online Zoom member meeting, and so encourage you to check it out. Be there, be a part, engage. This is your community. Let's do this. So here's our closing song. Let's work together. I'll see you on Zoom. Bye-bye.
1, 2, 3, 4. Together we'll stand, the fire will fall. Come on, people, let's get on and work together. Come on, let's work together. Because together we will stand, everybody is part of the plan. Thank you.